and Safety meeting. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lund.
Here.
Ms. Greenwell. Mr. Kalina.
Here.
Are there any conflict of interest statements?
No, sir.
The number 4, the approval of minutes of the meeting of June 15th, 2023 and June 22nd, 2023. We're good? Yeah.
I recommend approval of both June 15th and June 22nd meeting.
And I concur. Moving on to number 5, bid openings, removal and replacement of lead-impacted soil, environmental remediation. It looks like we have one, and it's from Blue River Environmental and Restoration in Fairland, Indiana. We have the bid proposal. We have the Form 96, the non-collusion affidavit, and the bid bond. And their bid is $2,798,464. Again, that's $2,798,464.
President, to the board, I'd ask that you refer this to our consultant, Enviroforensics, Morgan Saltzgiver, here today from Enviroforensics. If we could refer that to the consultant for review and recommendation.
Okay. I make the recommendation we send it to the consultant and for review and recommendation.
And I concur. Thank you. Moving on to number 6, matters from other department heads or their representatives. Anybody? Okay, then moving right along to number 7, letter A, correspondence received from Lieutenant Ralph Bogey requesting the approval for the disposals of HPD squads that are no longer in use.
I recommend the approval.
And I concur. Letter B, correspondence received requesting to install speed bumps around the 41 to 4400 blocks of Toll Avenue, 4100 to 4400 block of Cameron Avenue, and 4100 to 4400 block of Johnson Avenue due to speeding vehicles. Mr. Button?
It's the policy of this administration to not install speed bumps. This is a law traffic enforcement issue. We'd ask that you refer this to the police department.
Okay.
Thank you.
Refer it to the Hammond PD.
Yeah, deny the request.
And we'll deny the request?
Yep.
Yep.
And I will concur. Thank you. Letter C, correspondence received from Jatuan Powell requesting a block party on July 4th, 2023 from 6723 through 6707 Alabama Avenue.
I recommend that we approve the party to make sure that it ends at 10 p.m.
And I concur. Letter D, correspondence received from Roger Torres, owner of Torres Accounting and Tax Service, 837 169th Street, requesting the sewer drain in front of his property be removed and placed on city property due to it being plugged and causing a great inconvenience for parking for employees and customers.
Good morning.
Good morning. Mr. Torres?
Yes, I would like
Okay.
to provide you with pictures of the issues that we have. It's not in front of our building, but it's in the rear of our building where we do have the problems.
Who should we get those, or should we give them to you?
I would present them to the board.
Board, okay. Sir, if you could just walk them up here, that'd be great. Thank you. Thank you.
There's a basin on the back of our building, and we have our parking spaces there, so our employees are not able to park in there. I purchased that building back in 2017, and that basin existed already in there. Well, I went and get a survey to see if there is an easement in the property. There is no easement on the property. So that basin is causing a lot of problems because it gathers the water from the alley, from my neighbors, and from the front of the alley. There is actually no exit to go to the street. The street is very much higher.
Right.
So I need some help. I don't know what to do with that problem. 2 or 3 years ago, I went and hired a company to come and clean it. I pay almost $1,000 to clean it. But again, why should I pay for something that everybody around is benefiting from? So I need some help to remove that basin, put it on the alley, or do something with it.
Okay. Should we forward this to you or to sewer?
Technically, it's a
What, sanitary district?
It is on private property, Mr. President, so I don't know the circumstances of why it was installed, but generally, sewers that are placed on private property are the responsibility of the property owner. not
Okay.
citizens.
Okay, yeah, because you can tell it's causing a flooding of his parking lot there.
The parking lot of the building, and that's typically what's done, the drainage is for the parking itself when it's connected.
Okay.
We have circumstances throughout the city, Mr. President. One that jumps to mind is the bakery on Holman Avenue, where in order to construct the parking lot, the property owner needed to install a drain to drain the parking lot. So it's our opinion that this is a private property owner issue, not the sanitary district's
but-
responsibility.
But
Thank you.
my building drains to the back. There's a drain in the back of the building, so I don't use the basin.
Well,
I don't need the basin in my property. If it's my property, then I want to plug it, close it, because I don't need it.
okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna forward the issue that you have to sanitary district, and then I'm gonna have somebody from there reach out to you, and we'll rectify this one way or another, okay?
Mr. Councilman Peters has been there, and he has noticed what is the problem. If you want to hear some words from him, I'm sure that he'll be willing and able
Okay.
to explain a little bit further on it.
Well, again, we're not gonna answer any of the questions right now, I know that for sure.
Okay, Council Emerson is in his district. He's under the weather, so he couldn't be here.
Okay,
Yeah, I've seen it, and of course, everybody, I believe, the engineer's seen it and the sewer department's seen it. The question is, it's on his property, but it's draining the whole alley, including the street, Joint Street to the north, which is Cherry Street. So he told me that if the city doesn't do anything, since it's plugged up anyway and it's costing him thousands of dollars to unplug it, he's just gonna cap it, and then it's gonna create problems. The same problem, it's not gonna help his problem, but that alley is gonna remain flooded. And it doesn't have no other draining system in that alley, so it needs a drainage system. If he plugs it up, since it's on his property, it's just gonna create, the problem's gonna continue.
well, Councilman, again, this is not a subject of our expertise here, so we're gonna have to forward it to sanitary district and see what can be done. And
Okay.
whose responsibility it is, because I don't know whose it is at this point, so.
Okay.
So, Donnie, I would make a recommendation to forward his request to sanitary district, yeah.
I'm gonna recommend that we send this to sanitary district for a recommendation.
And I will concur. Moving on to letter E, request from Hessville Bible Church advising they will be holding a gospel sing outside their church on Sunday, July 2nd, 2023, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. No, there's just a,
All right, I recommend approval of the, for the church.
and I concur. Letter F, correspondence received from Trevira Alexander requesting permission to hold a block party for the celebration of life on July 15th, 2023, from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., closing Jennings and Noble with no residents being affected. No.
Okay, all right, I recommend approval of the request.
And I will concur. Letter G, correspondence received from New Life Community Church requesting permission to block off Hammond Street between Hickory and Elm for a back-to-school block party on July 23rd, 2023, from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Hoffman? What did I say? Holman? Holman, okay, sorry. Hoffman.
I recommend approval for the New Life Church.
And I will concur. Matters from board members, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Number 9, new business. Letter A, Disposal authorizations received from the Hammond Police Department submitted for approval. Good to go.
Yep, good to go. I recommend approval of the disposals.
And I concur. Letter B, addendum application to permit drawing set to include the masonry tower signage for the Hammond Fire Station Number 2 project submitted for approval. Good to go, I assume? Yeah.
All right, I recommend approval of number 2 project.
Okay, and I will concur. Letter C, contract with Impact Networking Indiana LLC for the copier at Public Works Department submitted for approval.
I recommend approval of the impact.
And I concur. Letter D, funding allocation request form requesting $267,000 of Sixth District Gaming Fund and Mayor's Gaming Fund to be allocated for the overlay program for 169th Street from Kennedy Avenue to Parrish Avenue. Good.
Yep, I recommend approval.
And I will point out it's been signed by the controller and the mayor, and I will concur. Letter E, funding allocation request form requesting $31,276 of Second District Gaming Fund to be allocated for the overlay program for the 200 block of an alley between Ogden Street and Douglas Street.
Grateful to Councilman Torres to support this project. The board had seen the Capital Improvement Board funding allocation last week. This is the other half to reconstruct the alley north of Ogden, the 200 block. And I'm grateful to Councilman Torres for his support and participation in this project. Thank you.
Okay. I recommend approval from the councilman for the Second District.
Also signed by the councilman, the controller, and the mayor, and I will concur. Moving on to letter F, funding allocation request form requesting $58,100 of Sixth District Gaming Fund to be allocated for the overlay program from 176th Place from New Hampshire Avenue east to the dead end. Same thing, good?
Yep, okay. I recommend approval of the request.
Again, signed by the councilman, controller, and the mayor, and I concur. Moving on to letter G, funding allocation request form requesting $16,050 of Third District Gaming Fund be allocated for the Columbia Avenue fence, remaining balance submitted for approval.
I think this was in conjunction with a redevelopment commission project that was ongoing and Councilman Tyler's participation. Appreciate your consideration.
Okay.
I recommend approval.
Okay, signed by the controller and the mayor, and I concur. Let's see. Letter H, funding allocation request form requesting $40,000 of Second District Gaming Fund to be allocated for the Festival of the Lakes Park Gaming Fund. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I recommend approval of the request.
It was signed again by the mayor and the controller, and I concur. Letter I, funding allocation request form requesting $40,000 of Fifth District Gaming Fund to be allocated for the Festival of the Lakes Park Gaming Fund. Yeah.
Okay, I recommend approval of the Fifth District.
Again, signed by the mayor and the controller. That was letter I, right? Yes. Good. J, First Amendment to take the August 8th, 2007 agreement for the sale of water to the civil city of Hammond by the Hammond Water Department, Hammond Works Department for the resale to the village of Lansing. We're good with that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I recommend approval.
And I will concur. Letter K, orders to rescind and release orders to demolish for properties located at 1429 Truman Street, 6312 Madison Avenue, front and rear, and 4315 Toll Avenue submitted for approval. All good.
Okay, I'll recommend approval on all the addresses.
And I will concur. Letter L, agreement to purchase real estate located at 1026 Kenwood submitted for approval.
I recommend approval of the sale of 1026 Kenwood.
And I will concur. Okay, letter M. Resolution number 23-4145, an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Hammond and Hammond Department of Redevelopment to transfer properties located at 5616 Walter Avenue, 609 Thornton, 5511 Beale Avenue, 5509 Beale Avenue, AKA 730 Fayette Street, 5507 Beale Avenue, 5543 Walter Avenue, 5545 Walter Avenue, 5549 Walter Avenue, 5551 Walter Avenue, 5557 Walter Avenue, 5612 Alice Avenue, and 5614 Alice Avenue. No issues, we're good? Okay.
Okay, I recommend approval.
And I will concur. Letter N, notice of violation hearing for property located at 1311 Lakeview Avenue. Good morning.
Thank you, sir.
The property was inspected on May 24, 2023. During the inspection, it was discovered that the property contains a non-conforming basement apartment. Based on the current construction, the property does not meet minimum housing requirements to allow for the basement apartment to exist. The apartment is in violation of IRC Code 3051, minimum height, the basement ceiling measured at 6.3 feet, so less than 7 feet minimum requirement. IRC Code 3171, dwelling unit separation. There was not an adequate fire separation between the first floor and the basement. The IRC Code 303.3 for the bathroom measured at less than 6'8", which is the minimum requirement for a bathroom. There were no permits to account for the creation of the basement apartment for IRC Code 150, and the zoning of the property did not meet requirement to have more than 2 units inside. Based on this information, we ask that the board affirm the order for the removal of the basement apartment and have the property converted back to a 2-unit dwelling and recorded with the Lake County Assessor's Office. The owners are on board with the property. They were not able to make it today, but I have spoken to them, and they are going to convert it back.
Sounds good.
Okay, all right. I recommend the approval, removal of those.
And I concur.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to letter O, notice of violation hearing for property located at 2226 White Oak Avenue. Thank you.
This property was inspected May 16th, 2023. During the inspection, the property contained a basement apartment. Based on the current construction, the property did not meet the minimum housing requirements for a basement apartment to exist. The apartment was in violation of the IRC Code 317, dwelling unit separation. Basement apartment didn't have fire separation between the first floor and itself. Hammond Municipal Code 5103. There were no permits to account for the creation of the basement apartment. And then IRC Code 3302, penetrations. First floor and basement apartment, there were clear penetrations through the holes of the ceiling through the first floor. So if there was a fire to happen, then the fire would cause more damage to the property than it would if it was properly rated. Based on this information, we ask the board to affirm the order of the basement apartment and be recorded with the Lake County Recorder's Office.
Have you spoke to them or no?
I had contact with the property manager, its property boss. I thought someone was going to be here today from them, but I guess nobody showed up. So I'm guessing we're just asking for the removal order.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay. I recommend approval, removal of the basement apartment.
And I concur. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to letter P, right-of-way permits. Looks like there's 7 of them received from engineering submitted for approval. Mr. Gordish,
Good morning.
how are you?
Fantastic.
Good.
So multiple permits, several from NIPSCO with pole upgrades just throughout the city. Comcast, we have 2, AT&T 1, and the big one is greatly moving forward to Ashen with the Westlake corridor for 165th. They are requesting a closure on 165th July 17th through the 22nd for track installation. And with the detour would be Conkey, basically. And the representatives from the Westlake are here, Anthony and Dave. So if they want to speak on the behalf of the closure to explain what's going to be done, but approximately 1 week. Just like 173rd, everything else will be open. So,
That's a complete closure, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Complete closure,
Closure.
165th East and
because-
westbound?
yes, because they're putting the track through the intersection.
It was safer for them to, if we closed it completely, correct? We talked about,
Federal rail regulations, you're not allowed to have a weld in the intersection, so you can't do half the time.
I gotcha.
Benefits you and the rail, because if it would break, then we would have to be in the middle of the road, so they make sure that there's no welds through it. So what we're doing is making the panel, putting it, dropping it in, just connecting it up, just getting it out. So we're looking at 5 days, right now we're at 4 days, and the 173rd is down on schedule, but it's all contingent on weather too. So
gotcha.
that's one thing.
Okay.
So I would recommend approval of their permit, and hopefully there won't be any other closures for 165th in
Okay.
the future.
All right, I recommend approval of all 7 right-of-way permits.
And I concur. Thank you, gentlemen. Letter Q, mobile food vendor application from Sweet Glee submitted for approval.
I recommend approval for the Sweet Glee mobile food vendor.
I will concur. Letter R, garage sale permit submitted for approval. We're good, Donnie. Yep, yep.
All right, I recommend approval of all the garage sale permits.
And I concur. Moving on to number 10, old business. Letter A, status for 847 117th Street.
Good morning. This is the old library located 800 block of 117th. If Mr. Sears is here? There's been, as far as building, there's been no progress since pre-COVID. I think the last time I was in there was 2019.
Okay. What was your name again, sir?
Brian Sears?
Brian Sears?
Yes. We finished up the front door. I put the numbers on the windows, so that was taken care of. The grass and everything, the property outside is being well maintained. I just cut the grass yesterday in spite of the ozone alert.
Yeah.
We discovered that there's roof damage around the 4-foot square chimney going up the side, and a permit has been pulled to repair that. It's a metal roof. It's going to be difficult, of course, to take off the metal roof, and we're going to have to get down to the base and replace all the wood around the metal around the chimney and water ice guard it. My son-in-law is involved in that. In order to erect the scaffolding, because it's a very narrow area back there with a little sidewalk, I got permission from the neighbor to remove part of my cyclone fence and go 4 foot into her property line and erect a new cyclone fence, temporary, because she has a dog that is like Marmaduke, and I mean, it could put its head on top of a 4-foot fence and eat you up. Even though it's an older dog, it's a horse. So we're making progress in that regard. We're continuing to work forward. I'm continuing to get bids on foam insulation. Some of the bids, one of the bids I came in was at $55,000. I'm looking for additional bids, and all I can say is I'm continuing to work forward. Sometimes other properties have emergencies, and I have to relocate some of my activities. And I beg the court for more time and to keep working.
So, Mr. Sears, the chimney issue that you're talking about today, that was something that came up recently that's new? Or was that an existing issue that they found to begin with?
It's kind of an existing thing that is getting worse, and in order to get the insulation on the roof, we need to have a sound roof, and this needs to be taken care of.
So we have to come up at some point with a game plan of when you suspect it will be done or when there's going to be movement, significant movement, I think, at this point. So how do we get, where are we at with that?
Once the roof is done and I can get bids on it, get someone to do the work for insulating it, it should go quickly, but that is a very big mountain to get over right now.
Okay. Bill, you have something?
If we can, the city would like status for 30 days, give us an opportunity to get inside, see the status of the inside of the building, check on the damage that he mentioned is going on, and then we can determine there how much more time we feel we should grant.
Okay, so do we want to do July 27th, or do you want to go the first one in August?
7/27. Perfect.
July 27th? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's set it for status, Joe.
I'll set this, I'll recommend this, setting this for status for July 27th, 9 a.m.
Mr. Sears, you understand that?
Yeah, I fully cooperate. Anytime he wants to call me, he can come into the building anytime.
Okay, thank you. And I concur with the recommendation. Moving on to letter B, status for 228 Condit Street.
This property is moving along well. The siding has been replaced. Inside has been gutted, reframed as they needed, and insulated. If they are ready for it, city recommends a 90-day rehab extension. Not sure on the expiration date.
Let's see, August, the end of September, like the 28th of September? 28th of September? Is that good?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll get a hold of Attorney Smith's office and make sure that that gets sent over.
Okay,
All right.
I recommend a status date of September,
extending the,
extending
yeah,
to September 28th.
and I concur. Letter C, status, temporary stop signs at the corner of Vine and Arizona.
Still needed. Progress on Kennedy Avenue is continuing. We believe that the work will be done in early August, but you know, that's still 60 days or more out. If we could have 90 days status and leave the sign in place.
We'll do that September 28th date
Yeah.
again? Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
Okay. I recommend we extend this till September 28th. Leave the stop sign in place.
And I concur. Okay, number 11, moving on to rental registration hearings. Letter A, 7439 Alabama.
Hello.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Could you give us your name, please?
Diana Garcia. I represent PP&W Property Management. I'm actually here also for both Kennedy, or I'm sorry, for Alabama and the Kennedy Avenue rental registration.
Okay, we'll just do one at a time, okay?
Okay.
So what happened with 7439 Alabama?
Well, so we are a very small office. There's only 4 of us, and my boss, the owner, was actually in the hospital for a couple of months. We do rental registrations every month. I'm usually, or every year, I'm usually given the stuff to fill out the forms and stuff. And I honestly just, I don't know how I missed that property. I missed both of those properties. She was in the hospital, like I said, and when she got out of the hospital, after a couple of months, she came back into the office. She asked where the stickers were. I said, well, they didn't do stickers this year. And she said, so she went through them manually. She's like, Diana, you missed Alabama, and you missed. So it was an accident. I mean, if you look at we register like on average 20 per year, and I have all the rest. We did all the rest of them. I just forgot. It was a mistake. It wasn't.
So for 7439 Alabama, we have this as a single-family home. There's only been one owner of record. I'm not sure how long they've been managing the property, but we're here for 2023. They were late in 2020, however, they paid the late fee in 2020. So this is the first time an appeal has been filed on the property. They've been on time previously with registrations for this request.
Okay. You, Donnie?
I recommend waive the late fee, sorry.
And I will concur. We're going to go one at a time, but if you'd like, at the end of today's meeting, you can register them if you want to stay.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and do the paperwork.
Okay, so moving on to letter B, 6416 Kennedy Avenue.
Same thing.
So we have this property, it's a residential above commercial. It looks like there's the only owner of record. Now, this property has only been, had one residential unit registered each year, and it's labeled second floor rear. So is there a front apartment on the
No,
second floor as well?
no, I don't know why they referred to it. When they gave it to us, they said that that's how it's referred to.
All right, so-
It's only residential.
So there's only a
just-
single residential apartment on top?
And yes,
Okay.
that is
All
correct.
right, so we would just ask that the registrations reflect second floor apartment to adequately label the number of units here. So it's a singular unit for 2023, and it's been registered on time previously.
All right, I recommend we waive the late fee for 6416 second floor rear apartment.
And I concur.
Okay.
Moving on to second floor apartment, yeah.
So just no longer refer to it as rear?
Right, that would
Okay.
indicate then there's a front.
Oh, okay.
At least possibly, yes. Okay, moving on to letter C, 35 Doty. Looks like there's 3. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Could you give us your name, please?
Sharon Soto.
Go ahead, Ms. Soto. What happened?
I thought it was the 30th. I forgot.
The 30th of April?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ms. Soto's been listed as the owner since 2018. This is a 3-unit property. However, you occupy one of the units, is that correct?
Yes.
Which unit is that?
1.
Okay.
My relatives do 2 and 3.
And so it looks like owner failed to register the 2 rental units for 2023. There was 1 waiver granted back in a Board of Works rental registration late fee appeal hearing on January 28th of 21. But the COVID agreement was signed at that time, so it was for 2020. And it looks like that was the only appeal that was ever filed. And then in 2016, there was a settlement through Smith-Sursick. Other than that, it's been registered on time each year. So the only other appeal that was granted was in 2021 for missing 2020.
What happened in 21, Ms. Soto?
All the years that I've lived there, I don't remember, that's a long time ago, but because it was family-owned, I guess we got a waiver. Somehow in my mind, I don't know. I'm just,
I know that
I forget.
we had a lot of registrations that were appealed, which is why we came up with that agreement during the pandemic. And
Yeah.
so it was for 2020. I know there was periods of time where the city hall was closed, but we were granting everybody an opportunity to bring the registration current. That is an agreement with the state of Nevada that stipulates they are aware of the deadline for the registration. Otherwise, while under her ownership, there hasn't been any other period where she was late with registering the 2 units that are rented.
What's your recommendation?
I would recommend that this be the final time that the city would provide a waiver for the 2 rental units. It is an owner-occupied property with one of the units under her ownership. She was not part of the settlement through Smith-Sursick, so there was one time during a pandemic in which she was one of the ones that didn't register. So I feel that maybe this would be the last time we extend that courtesy.
So, Ms. Soto, we usually only extend the courtesy on one occasion. So as you heard him say this, I believe now we've had 16, 20, and now we're here in 23. So whatever you have to do to make sure it doesn't happen again, I would please make sure that happens, because if it comes before the board again, you will be charged the late fee, just so you're aware of that, okay?
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
you're
I
welcome.
recommend we waive the late fees for 2 units.
And I will concur. Okay, moving on to letter D, 4315 Holman Avenue. Gotcha. Javier and Martha Rodriguez? No?
So it looks like they've been the owner since 2004. This is a single-family home. They appeared before the board last year and received a waiver of the late fees for 2020 and 2021, allowing to register for 2022 at the regular rate of $5. And now we're, here again for failing to register for 2023. There is a homestead tax deduction applied to the property, so we'll be sending that to Lake County to have that adjusted But based on the failure to appear, I would request that the board deny the appeal of the late fee.
Okay. I recommend we deny the late fee for 4315.
Thank you.
And I will concur. Thank you. You done, Nick? You good? Okay, moving on. Number 12, the meeting's open to the public. Does anybody have anything they'd like to say? Chris, you good back there? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Anybody else? Okay,
I make a motion for adjournment.
recommendation.
Recommendation for adjournment.
And I concur. Thank you, everyone.